we have some wild coach behavior for you in this one. Gonna have to, I got to show you this video. We got to talk about it. I'm really curious what you all think. This is probably more near and dear to me now that I've gone through experience of also being a youth coach for a long time. This is a high school basketball game. So let's check this out. I'm gonna just play this for you and then we will talk about it. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate you checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I do appreciate all your support. Shout out to the 19. Let's go. So watch what the coach does. I think that's 23, the one second from the left with her back turned, but you will see the coach approach her from behind. By the way, shout out to her teammate and how she responded to this, because again, this is an older adult and a bunch of high school girls. Now, again, she might be a senior and 18 years old, but you see that, and then you see the other player, which again, great teammate right there. I would have liked to have seen more of that from the Indiana Fever. So let's talk about this. This wall. Okay, first, the coach was already fired. Almost immediately, this coach was fired. Now, this was a playoff game. The coach said that what led to the incident was the senior, the young lady that's Harry pulled, the senior is directed an expletive toward him, which led to this incident, and otherwise cursed at him. So let's talk about that for a moment. One, if true, if true, and it wasn't something that was in response, maybe he said something about how she played or whatever, but players cursing at coaches is a no-no. However, a a coach, an older coach pulling, I'm gonna guess she's 18, maybe 17 and almost 18, but physically going after a player in that manner, and while that wasn't like something that was going to hurt her, or I should say injure her. I'm sure it hurts to get your hair pulled, but this is unacceptable behavior to handle it in this way. First of all, you have to have a little bit of self-control. She cursed at you. She didn't physically assault you. So your reaction to pull on her ponytail. Damn, I'm glad I caught that. I hit this stupid mute button on this thing anyway. Well, what I was going to say, to respond to a player cursing at you by from behind again, right? Sneaking up on from yanking on her ponytail. And then, of course, you could see he got into it a little more and is doing a little more yelling. Completely unacceptable. I get why he was fired. What's really bizarre too is I saw in some of the comments that people were like, "Oh, this is right here. We have gone so soft. Poor little girl. How will she ever get over it?" I can tell you some stories of my football coaches and how they taught our teams, but you'd probably report them for meanness. Um, Look, this is where I'm going to say, and I know some people will probably get a little upset in this day and age, but I'm sorry. As someone who's coached both, predominantly girls, but I've obviously been a boy and played on boys' teams, and I have coached boys' teams, although not for nearly as long as girls' teams. It is it's different. It is different. There are things I like about coaching girls much more than coaching boys, and there's some things that are more frustration, but it is absolutely different. And to justify what that coach just did by saying, "Oh, well, my football coach," it is different. And I do think that how male coaches handle male athletes at that age in terms of getting the best out of them is there are going to be differences than how you handle female athletes. Trust me on this, please. I've learned this as a coach. It was so important for me to help my players to help get the best out of my players and let them have the best experience, be the best possible player they can be. And in order to do that, you do approach things differently between females and males at that age. And look, if we're really going to do a deep dive, and I won't, but you're gonna learn your players as well, and you will have different ways of approaching each individual to help them get the best. to help get the best out of them. And so, I mean, yeah. So what he did, and he was fired. I got to say that really did surprise me that he was fired. But yeah, holy crap, some of these comments are disgusting. And this is, I wanted to read this because this is so true. Discipline and abuse are not the same thing. Yanking a student by the hair isn't tough coaching. It's crossing a clear line of respect and safety. Coaches are supposed to build athletes up, not humiliate or hurt them. Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you from coaches that I had as well, yelling, they're coaches that yell and scream, but that is a line crosser for me. I've seen, teenage boys and coaches get into actual arguments and the players say things they really should not say, and the coach starts screaming back, and you can decide for you where you think the line is there, but it never devolved into physical altercations like that. I have been yelled at by coaches. I think a lot of us who played have. Sometimes it's to motivate athletes, sometimes it's just getting caught up in the heat of the moment of competition, which most of us can understand, I think. As for me, and this is why I go back to also individually, I know there are players who or athletes who, if a coach gets in their face or yells at them, especially calling them out in front of the entire team, it's like that's it for them, right? They're done, their performance is gonna suffer, they sort of shut down, and it's not the way to go. For me, it was the opposite of that. I mean, because I was hard enough on myself, and so if a coach gets worked up and gets in my face or however you wanna put it like that, that just motivates me more. It's kind of the chip on your shoulder type of thing. It's like, "Oh, really? Well, I'm going to show you." I think some of you can relate to that as well. So there are definitely different ways to approach things, but for me, even though the grand scheme of things, again, it probably surprised her more than anything. It didn't hurt her. She's not injured, but to do that and to do it the way he did it also from behind, it's not even like they're screaming at each other face to face and he shoves her, which again, not saying that's acceptable. Please don't get that wrong because that is not what I'm saying. But it's for me, this crossed the line. And look, I will say, and and again, we'd also have to know what would precipitate her cursing at her coach, but cursing at her coach is no good either. But please make understand that I am separating the two things. We can even say they're two completely separate things, different players, different coaches. Cursing at a coach is not the way to go, but neither as a coach is pulling your player's ponytail because they cursed at you. This is a serious lack of self-control from someone who should not be involved in coaching, because if you can't control yourself to the point though that a player curses at you, that you can't control yourself from physically going after them, you probably shouldn't be coaching, right? Like at all, in any way, shape, or form, regardless of this particular incident or not. But yeah, man, this kind of stuff is just I don't get it. I don't it seems this type of stuff seems to be happening more and more. There seems to be a lack of respect in both directions, coaches, players, the whole thing. Believe me, I could tell you stories. I may write a book someday actually about my coaching youth sports, but I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. I figure this one might get some discussions going because we will have some of the old school. And I'll tell you what, I know the old school will be the players that had male coaches and played different sports. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. I will talk to you later.